Hello and welcome. Okay, this is the roadmap. This is the sort of the framework that I've come up with that I feel like is a really good high level overview of my method, if you will call it. This is how I have coached throughout the years to radically rewire. And I decided to put this into something that you could see as a framework just for a visual. So before we go any further in the coaching container, I want to show you the map. We'll be following this together, and each of the modules will fall under one of these categories because, as I've mentioned so many times before, sobriety is not just about quitting drinking, it's about rewiring your brain and your body. So, freedom actually feels natural. And this is what the 4R framework is designed to do: repattern, reveal, reframe, and reclaim. These are the 4Rs that I just want you to keep in mind as we go along on this journey. Repattern, reveal, reframe, and reclaim. These are the 4Rs. Repattern. We start with a hard reset. You'll hear me say several times throughout the course of our time together, we need a pattern interrupt. This hard reset, we need to interrupt old loops and stabilize your brain and body. And think about habits like somatic regulation in terms of the body, cravings, managing those cravings, uncoding those cravings, and really finding out what your body needs, what your brain, your heart, your soul needs, and then sleep hygiene and blood sugar. So when you're coming into sobriety, and everybody does this in some capacity, there's a pattern interrupt. We're no longer coming home and drinking. So whether you're coming into this with 4 days sober or 4 months sober, at some point you did a hard reset and said, okay, today's the day. I'm going to dump out the booze. I'm going to hide the bottles, do whatever it is you're going to do. And you're going to come home, DSD, you're going to do something different, reach for the seltzer, reach for the tea, and then you're going to go into your sober journey as we all have. So no matter where you're at some point, you started with this pattern interrupt. Reveal. This next one, we're going to look at the root causes, why we drink, the emotional patterns, like fears, the loneliness, the family dynamics, all of the things going on underneath the surface. So you'll see modules in here like reframing fear versus curiosity and boundaries, and we'll talk a lot about family dynamics. And this one, I feel like, as a woman who got sober in 2018, this is an ongoing journey in my life. We'll constantly be peeling back the layers of the onion to reveal areas of pain and opportunities for growth, and even to heal from old wounds and old traumas. And we're always on this journey of self discovery and recovery. So the revealing is ongoing, but it's certainly, as I say, certainly, it is definitely like an impactful part of the process, because there's inevitably going to be these moments on your journey where you're like, wow, this insight really shifted the game for me. And then maybe you go on for some time and you're kind of cruising along, and then you have this other insight. And I can tell you throughout my journey, when I say follow the breadcrumbs, it's it's a layered effect of this book and this teaching and this reading and this conversation that revealed more and more and more to me as I went forward. So this is something that we'll do ongoing, and I love this. Reframe. Okay, we're going to be reframing again for the continuation of our lives, because we'll always be working on shifting our mindset. We're going to challenge the beliefs that alcohol, that kept alcohol in a power stance in our life. We're going to build new, truthful ones. And we're going to support the identity that we're becoming. And so you'll see a lot of modules on mindset and core beliefs because we've hardwired over the years this infrastructure of beliefs about how we move through the world. And we've certainly had a lot of beliefs about alcohol ingrained to us throughout our culture, what it means to drink versus not drink, and what sobriety is going to look like. And so, reframing, again, another ongoing one. Reclaim and rebuild. The last step, and again, another one that's just ongoing. Finally, we reclaim our lives in sobriety. The joy, the play, the boundaries, identity, the confidence. This is about building a life you don't need to numb out from. And what does that even mean? That means that you are going to go from boredom to identity rebuilding to a life that you actually love with boundaries you set and a framework that you've decided on because you know yourself, you've reclaimed yourself, and you're okay taking up space in this world, being your full, creative, fabulous self. You're not just quitting, you're rewiring. And the most important thing I want you to remember on this journey is that it's not linear, it's ongoing, and it is certainly not about how much willpower you have, because you're not just quitting alcohol, you're rewiring your brain and your nervous system. And that's what creates a lasting change. So this sticks and feels natural, and you are retrained in a way to move through the world. So it doesn't feel like you're white knuckling. And it also doesn't feel so performative and it's such a struggle. It becomes a bit more of just who you are.